Hi guys, Natalie Rizzo here from Nutrition a la Natalie. You know me for sports nutrition information on my website and in my videos, but today I'm going to talk about something that's personal to me, and that's changing careers to become a registered dietitian. I have an article on my website about my career change and what I learned along the way, and it continues to be the most popular article on my website for the past 4 years. Having said that, there's a lot of you out there that want to change careers to become a registered dietitian, and you send me emails asking me about my journey and how I did it. So I just wanted to talk about how I became a registered dietitian and kind of my journey into the field of nutrition. Afterwards, I'll tell you some of the lessons I learned along the way, and maybe this will help you in your career journey. First off, I studied history in undergrad. I have a bachelor's of arts from Boston University. I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I was 18, 19 years old, and I think that's pretty common among a lot of teenagers. When I graduated college, I ended up working in ad sales in the advertising industry for large media companies like Nickelodeon and ABC. It was a really fun thing to do in my early 20s, but it wasn't necessarily what I wanted to do with my life. So it took me a few years to figure out what to do next. When I was about 26, having worked in the advertising industry for 4 years, I started to realize that I wanted to make a career change. So I started thinking about what I really liked to do. And the things that I really liked to do were to cook. But when I was cooking, I was always changing the recipes to become healthier. And I really liked to exercise and do fitness activities. And then I would always be online reading about nutrition, reading about recipes. And combining all of those passions, I thought to myself, is there something that I can do that turn my hobbies into a career? So I stumbled upon becoming a registered dietitian, and as many of you have come across that in your research as well, you'll find that it takes a lot of work to become a registered dietitian, and it can be a little confusing at first. So I started reaching out to different schools to find out what kind of courses I had to take and what kind of things I had to do to actually become a registered dietitian. There is a website called eatright.org, and that is the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics website. And they have a whole section laid out for people who want to change careers to become registered dietitians. And that was super helpful in helping me figure out what to do next. So I'll put the link for that below. Basically, what I realized after doing all the research was that it's very, very difficult to work and also go back to school to become a registered dietitian. That said, some people have done it, but I wanted to do it as quickly as possible. I didn't want to wait until I was older and maybe had a family. So I decided to quit my job and go back to school full time. Now, you need a bunch of science courses in order to go to school to become a dietitian. And we call these the prerequisite courses. I didn't have those science courses because I studied history, so I had to go back to school and take those science courses. So at the time, I'm about 26. I went to local state schools in New York City. They're called CUNY schools, City Universities of New York, because those are cheaper ways to take the classes. And I took chem, organic chem, biochem, intro to nutrition, anatomy and physiology. There's a list of about, I think it's like 8 classes that you need to take in order to get into a nutrition program. Now, you don't need a master's to become a dietitian, or at least you didn't when I did it. I think in 2020, they're changing the rule that you will need a master's. But I had a choice to make. I could either get a second bachelor's degree or a master's degree. To me, if I was going back to school, it made more sense to get a master's degree. So once I finished the prerequisite coursework, I started applying to master's programs. And I didn't want to leave New York, so I decided to apply to Columbia, Hunter, NYU, and I ended up getting into Columbia's program, which I was super excited about. When I talk about the schooling process, a question I get a lot is about money. And I'm super honest about this. I saved up a lot of money. I've always been very good at saving. So I saved up enough money to be able to quit my job and live off of what I had. And then of course you can take student loans and whatnot to pay for school. So once I was in the master's program is typically about 2 years. I decided to do nutrition and exercise physiology, which leads you down a sports nutrition track. And you end up taking a few more classes than a standard nutrition program because you're taking an exercise phys classes as well. Because of that, and I also was babysitting at the time to try to make some money, I did the master's program in 3 years. I spent a year doing prerequisite coursework, 3 years doing a master's, and then after you do a master's, the only way you can become a registered dietitian is that you need to be accepted into a dietetic internship. Now, how are you accepted into a dietetic internship? One, you need to go to an accredited university, and the list of accredited universities are on the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics website, and I'll leave those links below. And you need to do well in school. It's very, very difficult schooling, so it's not for the faint of heart. You need to get A's and B's. No dietetic internship will accept you with less than a 3.0 GPA. And then you also need to do some volunteering or get some experience in the field. Now, there's plenty of places you can volunteer. There's food banks, there's a lot of nutrition education in school. You can volunteer with a local dietitian. There's plenty of ways to get creative once you're in school, and you can talk to your professors or other students about what they're doing. But it's something that's really gonna beef up your resume. Now, there are some programs that have a joint master's and dietetic internship program. There's none of those that I knew about in New York City. So I applied to Teachers College, Columbia, got in, and then hoped to do the dietetic internship there. They don't guarantee you a spot, but they say that they accept a lot of their students if you're a good student. So I applied to that dietetic internship, and I was matched to that dietetic internship. In an internship, you do about a year of unpaid supervised work where you learn what it's like to actually be a dietitian in the field. That year is a bit tough because you're not getting paid and you are working full-time. And that is the last step to becoming a registered dietitian. You need to successfully complete the dietetic internship in order to sit for your RD exam. So that is what I did. The whole process from start to finish took me 5 years. Now, I know that sounds a little crazy. If you have some science background, you can do it in less. It takes a long time and it's a lot of work, but it's the best decision I ever made in my life. I couldn't love being a dietitian any more than I do. Now I'm an entrepreneur, I work for myself. I'm a media spokesperson. I write for different publications, and I work with you guys, helping runners and athletes fuel more efficiently. Now, some lessons I learned along the way to becoming a registered dietitian were, you want to be professional along the way. You want to network as much as possible and always act like you're in a professional setting, because although you're in school, these will be your peers and your colleagues, and the professors are the people that can recommend you for things. So you always want to be professional and act like you're in a professional setting. And I always said that schooling was what you make of it. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of time, but you can always make the most out of it by asking people if they need help with things, volunteering for things. When I volunteered for things, I actually got paid work out of it. So there are ways to make some money while you're in school. And also, if you chose to go back to school to become a registered dietitian, you did it because you were passionate about it. So take in that knowledge, learn everything you can, and appreciate that you're there. Now, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll try to answer as many as I can. I hope you found this helpful, and if you'd like to know more about my internship or what I do, let me know and I can create videos on that. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.